Hey, it's 1 o'clock, and our first committee meeting of the day is the Planning and Economic Development Committee. Those committee members are Fusco, Kamer, Connor, Boyes, and Hannah. We do have all committee members present whenever you're ready, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I'd like to begin the Planning Committee meeting of Akron City Council and respectfully request a roll call, please. Sarah Biviano.
Fusco?
Aye.
Kamer?
Aye.
Connor? Aye. Boyes?
Aye.
Hannah?
Aye.
All committee members are present.
Very good, thank you. I'd like to request a motion to accept the minutes of the previously held meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. We'll go into the list of legislation. I'm going to recommend time short of any questions or concerns and move into the new list of legislation. And respectfully request Sarah Biviano to please read in item number 5. Also would like to, we have some guests here this afternoon. We want to welcome you to the Planning Committee meeting of Akron City Council and appreciate you being here. And we'll be talking to you shortly. Item number 5, please.
Item number 5 is an ordinance approving with modification the renewal application of Amy B. and Robert P. Dunkler to have agricultural property at 1395 Collier Road placed in an agricultural district pursuant to revised code section 929.01 and declaring an emergency.
For an advertised for public hearing, item number 6, please.
Item number 6 is an ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts with the Board of Education of the Akron Public School District for the Community Learning Center's Akron After School Program in order to provide learning enrichment activities and declaring an emergency.
Very good.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Akron After School, as the name suggests, provides after-school programming for elementary age students, as well as summer programming. And for many years, over 2 decades, the city's supported Akron After School in 2 ways. We help to secure federal funding for the program, and we also have a city contract to support what they do. Evaluations of the program tell us that Akron After School participants improve in reading and math in greater numbers than their peers who are also targeted for academic intervention. And they have low rates of chronic absenteeism, lower than other elementary school-age children. Even more notable is that the kids at the sites with combined academic intervention and enrichment activities have even better outcomes. Desiree Bolden, who is the manager of extended learning at Akron Public Schools, is here to share more information about the program.
Okay, thank you. Yes, please step forward, and you're welcome to come up here if you'd like, or from there, whatever's easier for you. All right. Might push the button. Okay, cool.
Can you hear me now?
Thank you. Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. We are celebrating in the fall 25 years of City Council's commitment to Akron After School. I haven't aged, and neither have you, for those of you who've been with me on this journey.
I have.
Okay, Jeff, you have. Mr. Fusco.
A little bit.
Yeah. Thanks, Rochelle. Thanks to the mayor, Brittany, for helping support us getting here to this point. And I wanted to start out by telling you, first of all, what Akron After School isn't. Akron After School isn't daycare. It is not aftercare. It is a proven investment in our city's future, focusing on academic acceleration and student well-being and community stability. So why does Akron After School matter? We're nationally recognized. We had an FY24, so all the data in your folders that you have are from last year. So this is our complete program, our complete data. So last year we served 2,500 students across 28 elementary schools. So everyone on City Council has constituents in your Akron After School program. So this program not only helps kids with reading and math, but it helps them with their social emotional. It exposes them to exploration of careers. I'm in the College and Career Academy department. We've incorporated all kinds of things in to help children, appropriate grade level, explore different college and career opportunities and job things. But what's most important, and what I'm really proud of, is our reading and math is, our intervention is designed by Akron Public Schools, and it's also taught by our Akron Public School teachers. So if you'll notice, let me draw your attention to 3 highlights. 35% increase of our students, and these are our lowest targeted at-risk students, had an increase in number operations. In the old world, it's called math. We also had a 30% increase in algebra and algebraic thinking, and this is really huge. This is a 31 increase overall in English language arts. That is a huge statistic that we're proud of, that this group of children are excelling, and that's compared to their peers. So this isn't just incremental progress. This is moving, these targeted interventions are moving students from needing intensive support to achieving grade level proficiency. So what do we know about state testing? What do we know about moving students? Proficiency at their grade level is the utmost importance. That's the work that's happening. So not only is it the academics, but it's the engagement and the attendance. Our attendance compared district-wide, our daily attendance is 1.16 higher than all the other elementary students. Chronic absenteeism. Let me remind you what chronic absenteeism is. It is students missing significant days of school. It's usually 10% or more of the school year. That chronic absenteeism for Akron After School from the entire district at the elementary level, our students are 6 points lower in chronic absenteeism. So the research says that those that have high academic need struggle the most. They also have the poorest attendance. So what are we seeing with Akron After School? We're seeing those with the highest academic need having higher attendance. Can celebrate that. Yay. All right, so not only do we have the attendance, but why do kids come? I hate to tell you this, but they don't come for reading and math. They come for the fun stuff. They come for the enrichment afterwards. Fun stuff like theater, we have art, all kinds of art projects, dance, we have building teachers that share their hobbies. We've had baton twirling. If you see your 5th grade teacher twirling baton, you can tell it gets a lot of attention from our kids. We also have chess. So I had a visitor last spring escorting him through Forest Hill, and we were walking down the hallway, and once the kids are done with intervention, they transition to their enrichment programs or their youth development. So the hallways are busy, they're changing classes, and we come around a corner, and 3, I want to say they're 8, 9-year-old boys, come running down the hallway, pell-mell. So I immediately do the, whoa, slow down, where are you going? He goes, we're going to chess club. And my visitor looks at me and mouths, chess club? And I was like, okay, so then we go and visit chess club. We walk into the classroom. All the desks are covered with game boards, chess boards. They're on the write-on, wipe-off board is their strategy for today is something about the queen. I can't remember because I'm not really proficient at chess. And their instructors were waiting for them, and they threw their backpacks down and went in and sat down at their tables. So I was sharing that story with my site coordinators at their meeting, and all our sites are run by site coordinators. One of them piped up and said at Cyberling, they had a 3rd grader who was too cool for school, who was targeted to be in intervention, and went to chess club because his friends went, but whined and moaned every time he was in chess club. Well, by 4th grade, something happened. He became a chess enthusiast. So not only does he play 3D chess on his computer, he has challenged every adult at Cyberling to play chess. He brings his game board in, and at snack time, they play chess with him because no one in his family knows how to play chess. So he's playing chess at school. So talk about engagement, right? You want to keep coming back to school. So that's your overview. We have great success. We provide the intervention, we provide healthy snacks, we provide youth development opportunities. But just so that you know, we had in FY 24, we had 2,500 kids. Because the nature of grants and funding, FY25, we're down 600 kids. So our funding level ebbs and flows, and one of the reasons we're here is we're looking for Akron after-school heroes. So use your influence as you look to support great outcomes, eliminate barriers to kids accessing all this great stuff. You get to share in that with us at Akron Public Schools as long-term partners, and that also includes summer. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions or celebrate a little further with you.
Thank you. And thank you for all you've done for these last few years, many years. And so I guess it's the financial piece that you had spoken about. You had mentioned 2,500 and 600 less. What's the gap in terms of financially, the financial gap?
So we have...
and where those funds come traditionally?
Yeah, so the main foundation of funding is 21st Century Community Learning Funding. And those are, it's 5-year funding, but after the 3rd year, it starts reducing. So what we had this year is a reduction, a $100,000 reduction, just from the nature of one grant going down. So that automatically excludes kids. We're sitting for a school year at about $640 a kid. So if you start doing the math, you can figure out. And then there's other braided funding. Title I has been hit. So we had some reduced funding from them. So once the domino hits, it all starts. So we had to make sure that we had enough money to pay everyone. So this $200,000 from the city is going in to pay right now for kids sitting in seats in about an hour.
Gotcha. Before COVID, this city council, many members are newer here, but we had the summer slide is what we called it. Some other people call it other things, but many of us here on council at the time were advocates for this summer program and spent time with the children and read to them, and that social engagement was tremendous. As one who went to Findlay and getting to know them, and you get excited to see them before whenever you first see one another, because we'd come I think twice a week, and we had 8 or 9 different schools, and it was around the summer lunch program, I believe, that we had. Mm-hmm. And then COVID hit, and it kind of fell by the wayside, unfortunately. But it didn't cost a whole lot. Tell me about the summer program.
So summer actually benefited from ESSER, so we were able to incorporate secondary programming. Last summer, we served about 1,300 students in the summer. 730 of those were Akron After School. So I had written a summer expand grant with AMHA being our partner, our fiscal partner, like the city is with fiscal partner with 21st Century's funds. And last year was our last year of that grant. So I had $600,000 for 3 years for summer specifically. And last year we spent $387,000 with that last grant. We do not have that this year. The district added $110,000 last year to that, so that's how we were able to serve 730 students for 7 weeks, 5 days a week, 5 hours a day. That's a huge number. Mm-hmm. So this year, I have a commitment of $40,000 from our district, and any leftover funds from this school year, which are not going to be plenty, will be put towards summer. So we're looking at a drastic difference.
And we have all heard about the summer slide. I know in some circles it's not politically correct, but what that basically is like any of us. You take 3 months off and you don't study or you don't read, you don't engage, if you will, then there's a slide. There obviously, whenever they come back, the first couple months is pretty challenging for the kids. But it seems as though the summer is also a good time to make sure that we engage in one way or the other. Yeah. And you have given us a a lot of information here. I'm going to request time on this. I don't know what the timing is on this. Is there a time frame?
As far as how we've usually done it, we're a little behind the ball, but
Okay.
Desiree and I spoke. We're not in an immediate rush.
Okay, good.
We don't need to suspend the rules or anything.
Oh, good, thank you. Yeah, because we got a lot of stuff here, and we appreciate all the information. And I'm going to open it up, though, to any committee members at this time that may have questions. Any committee members whatsoever? I think this is worthy of further investigation. We're into the budget season right now. How much is it that our commitment is on this, the city?
We're asking for 200. We have been giving 185 since 2008. That's the last time that we increased the amount for this program. We have been funding it since 2000.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's been a long run. I know it's been a long run. I was kind of here and part of that back in the day and worked on it with somebody that may be in the room. But so 2008 was the last time we increased it, and we're at 185, so we increased it 15,000 for this year.
Yes, and in the contract that we've drafted, we have asked that we direct a lot of the city funds to that summer programming because that is where Desiree is worried that the biggest gap is. So we're hoping because our funding is frankly more flexible than the state funding and the federal funding.
Yeah, well, and the success of this in terms of the after-school component as well. Obviously, the numbers, they don't lie. You know, I mean, it's amazing the difference it has made. But you know, this is investing in our children, especially in those developmental years, is vital and important for our city. And this is one of those things. So, how do you view? And this probably isn't a fair question at this time because I don't think anybody can answer it, but in terms of the federal piece, and not all of us know what exactly Title I, 21st century, do they start at the federal level and the DC level, then come to us, or how does that work?
Yes, 21st century funds are federal level to the state level. The state has actually put a pause on 21st century funding, so we were not able to apply for new awards this year. The pause was, they were kind of obtuse why the pause was. It was to recalibrate, I don't know, I'm on the statewide committee. I have yet to be tapped to attend a meeting, and that pause was announced in November. So usually new awards, new grants open up now, and then you have a 30-day window, and then the announcements are made in August on awards, new awardees for the year. So we're okay because we have continuing grants. So I have money that is still being funded and will continue. I just couldn't apply for any new ones. No one in the state could.
And that's kind of like what we said around this horseshoe, is that given the uncertainty of the federal government, and now it seems as though our friends in Columbus are kind of following suit, we're going to have to take care of ourselves here. And we just can't rely on that as much as we used to. Hopefully, it'll have more clarity in the future, in the near future, so that people can plan. And but some of these programs that we've had here in Akron, we were in 2000 or so. We were ahead of the curve. A lot of cities followed us, especially with the after-school programming. So again, I'll open up to questions to anybody on the committee, and/or Johnny Hanna.
I just have two questions. When does the summer program start, and are all the schools have the summer program in Akron?
So summer program, I can't remember when the end of school is, but it's I believe the first week of June. We have different levels of after-school programming. So we have our 3GG camps, which are our third grade reading camps for those third graders who are at risk of not passing. So they're our target. The district is funding that. Traditionally, Akron After School comes in the afternoon to extend the day. So the kids do kind of the after-school model. They do it with 3GG. They go do their reading, learn to pass the test so that they can be promoted to 4th grade. And then in the afternoon, do all the fun stuff, the mad science, the art projects, the things like that. We're in 7 sites for that in June. And that is where my first priority is to support those afternoons in June. Moving into July, there's nothing happening in July, and I have Deb Folk sitting here with me too. She lets us know where we can be and when we can't be. We have some programming in August, and right now that's not on my purview for funding because I don't have the funds. So we're concentrating on that June programming. Does that make sense? So we are in clusters. So in order to reduce wear and tear in our buildings and let buildings get set up for the school year, we have all the clusters go to one designated school, and we provide transportation and lunch and all of that, and the programs that are running. And did I answer your questions? Okay. You sure? Okay. Did I answer both your questions?
You said you had 7 sites.
Yes, for the June programs.
Are they in the packet?
What are those sites? Could you name those schools?
Is it in the packet?
It is not, but I could get back to you on that.
Good.
So each of the sites have been strategically picked in their clusters to have the most students have access, because we transport them all to get there, but also we have buildings that have parking lots being repaved. We have a whole bunch of things that we have to consider on why certain buildings weren't picked, why certain buildings were picked. Does that make sense? But I can get that list to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Linda Mobian?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Desiree. I have been fortunate to be with you the whole 25 years,
Yes.
and you should be extremely proud of what you're experiencing now. It's been a great program. I mean, we've developed over the years so many different components, and I don't care why they show up, let them show up because you are serving so many needs. You're feeding them, you're giving them social skills, and many of those programs, they incorporate all of the learning objectives that the teachers have inserted in the after-school programming. So it's just turned out to be a great program, and I just wish these people that are doing the news media put this at the top of the list of the things that are happening in Akron, because I've heard about these scores going up and the attendance and all of that, but you don't read about that part, and that's what we need to be, exploring and need to be talking about, because we are making progress in the Akron School District. And I can't thank you enough for your commitment for 25 years of being with this program and just seeing all of this. And Deb Folk, I know she's been there the whole time herself as well, helping to plan the logistics and all of that. So thank you so much. I mean, this is great news, and this is what everybody in Akron needs to hear about, as opposed to some of these other things they're hearing about. Okay? Thank you.
You're here. Thank you, Linda, for those comments. Linda Mobian. Thank you. I think what the committee needs to do is consider this legislation. We heard that we have a little bit of time to work with. It is budget season coming upon us. And so we have a couple questions that are out there. I'd like to have perhaps further discussion in terms of budgetary and what that looks like. Because this is, we often on this council talk about things that are measurable, what's the return on investment, what's this, what's that, and now we're getting it. This is factual information that's right in front of us, and we see the return on investment, and especially with regards to our children, that investment is quite high. So I think we have to really kind of sharpen our pencils here and take out the microscope, look real closely, and make an educated decision from here. So thank you for coming in. I'd like to entertain a motion to refer this item.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
both.
Thank you,
Thanks.
everyone.
Thank you. The next item, Sarah Viviano.
Item number 7 is an ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts with the Black Chamber of Commerce, Summit County, to provide economic and neighborhood development, marketing, and promotional services for the purposes of job creation, investment, retention, and expansion of existing companies in the city of Akron and declaring an emergency.
Okay, Susie Graham Moore.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. The Black Chamber of Commerce of Summit County is a nonprofit organization founded by business leaders and community change agents, Robert DeJournette and Misty Beasley, both who are joining us today. They are leveraging their combined 30-plus years of experience in minority business development. The Black Chamber was formed in response to the pressing need to bridge economic disparities and provide impactful solutions, resources, advocacy, and support to enhance the economic status and resilience of Black-owned businesses, ultimately helping empower them to thrive. We look forward to their partnership in the business assistance space to help us in building community prosperity. They started an impressive startup campaign with 100 founding donors providing $1,000 each in an effort to get this business up off the ground. And today we're presenting legislation to support them with $50,000 a year for 3 years as they start up and build toward their plan for financial sustainability. Also joining us today in support of the legislation is Ron Pato, Market President of Huntington National Bank, who is one of the board members of the Black Chamber. We're happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you so much. I do see the 3 guests here, recognize them. I don't know if you have any comments that you would like to make at this time. I know Pastor DeJournette, we have talked a couple times over the years in reference to, propping up, supporting Black-owned businesses. And so I know this is a passion of yours and it has been for a long time. So by all means, welcome.
Okay, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, committee, for hearing us out. Thank you, Susie, for presenting this. Thank the city for continuing to support us and support Black businesses and all businesses. I just want to first just really give a good big shout out to the other council members who I have had a chance to, who either approached me or I had a chance to talk to about this. Wanted to get to every council member, but didn't get a chance to, but I do want to at least recognize publicly Councilwoman Davis, Councilman Garrett, Councilman DeShazier, Councilperson Tina Boyes, Councilwoman Linda Mobian, Council President Margot Somerville, Councilman Brad McKittrick. And again, hopefully I'll get a chance to touch base with each and every one of our council folk. This organization, it's more of a calling for me. Having worked at the Greater Akron Chamber and being part of the Elevate Greater Akron initiative, just really see the need where some of our businesses are still falling through the cracks, falling through the gaps of our ecosystem. And we really want to help pick up the slack there and align ourselves appropriately with the ecosystem to continue to strengthen our ecosystem. And one of the things that we're really wanting to accomplish is that how do we help meet the needs? The Elevate Greater Akron report, as you all are aware of, was very succinct in identifying that Black businesses have been excluded from opportunities, and how do we continue to level that playing field. And we feel that we can help fill that gap and also to provide resources more on a, I would call it a hand-holding basis, because a lot of our businesses, we don't know the root causes of where they are as far as sustainability and being able to scale. So we feel that we can really help, meet that need. And we're looking forward to the support of this council to really help that. And I do want to point out that our organization, although it's called the Black Chamber of Commerce of Summit County, is not just exclusive to any other businesses, right? We're inclusive of all businesses, and we plan on having all businesses, small businesses, which is, make up the larger part of our businesses here in our community, to be a part of this. And we want to really foster a unofficial, I would call, covenant of business to business, how we support one another. So I do want to give my co-founder, Misty, a chance to address you all as well. She can give you a little bit more of her background, but we're excited. We had a launch event a week or so ago, and the support of the community is there. We socialized this with everyone in the space, and now we're just coming to you all for support.
Thank you. Welcome.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to speak today on behalf of the Black Chamber of Commerce, Summit County. I just want to give you a little bit about my background. I have been in the community service nonprofit organization for over 23 years. I previously worked at the Akron Urban League in various capacities, but my last capacity was as the regional director for our Minority Business Assistance Center, as well as the VP of Entrepreneurship Empowerment Center. As Robert mentioned, our goal is to help develop, empower, promote, support, and advocate on behalf of Black-owned businesses and all small businesses in Summit County. Our goal is to, as Robert said, meet the businesses where they're at and help them to get the education, the resources, the promotion that they need to scale and be sustainable in our community. That is important because we know that when we all thrive, our community thrives as a whole. So our goal is to make sure that we create an entrepreneur ecosystem that is beneficial for all, and we meet the needs of those who have been left out of opportunities or who don't have the knowledge or education or the resources to obtain the things that they need to be successful and sustainable. As Robert mentioned, we had, and Susie mentioned, we had a goal to raise the first $100,000 ourselves. So we committed to talking to our friends, our network, community leaders, engaged everyone with this ideal of the Black Chamber of Summit County to see how they would be willing to support. And we did reach our goal by, I believe it was before our event. So we reached the goal of obtained $100,000 from 100 people, giving $1,000. And then we also started the Heritage Circle because people continue to want to give and to support this effort, right? And so we have the Heritage Circle now where people are donating to that. And I believe we've already raised about $7,000 with the Heritage Circle. And we did well with the silent auction, the ticket sales, and everything for the event. So it's a need that the community see for our business owners. And so we just want to be part of that driving force to collectively collaborate with those organizations that's already in our community to make sure those businesses that fall through the gap, they have a resource to help them out.
Thank you. Thank you for all your effort. Appreciate that. Is it Mr. Pato?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everybody.
Go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having me. I was worried that once Robert started talking that I would not get any time, but I was glad that I had the time. I'm proud to share with you that our bank is a founding donor of the Black Chamber, and I also serve on the board of this chamber and the Greater Akron Chamber. Robert and Misty spoke to you about the launch event held a couple weeks ago. That event was sold out. With a waiting list, and Steve Millard from the Akron Chamber was there, Greg Kramer from the Akron Chamber was there, Goodyear was there, SUMA was there, U.S. Bank was there. There was a ton of support for this chamber in that room that evening. At the bank, we know that Black-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, and veteran-owned businesses are underserved. Robert talked about businesses falling through the cracks. We know that's the case. In 2020, our bank created what we call a Lift Local program. We believe that we have a responsibility to help businesses thrive, which strengthen the communities that we serve. And this program identifies those businesses. And since 2020, $153 million worth of Lift Local loans have been invested in the Huntington communities. And in Akron leads the way in businesses that we've been able to help through that program. I think having the Black Chamber there as a resource for the businesses that Robert and Misty talked about is really, really important. I think there's a need for both chambers at the end of the day. if you think about what everything the Greater Akron Chamber right now is doing with the Polymer Tech Hub and other things, while at the same time having another chamber that can make sure that no businesses fall through the cracks. Proud to support the Black Chamber and ask for your support.
Thank you for your comments. Certainly appreciate that and all the commitment and the businesses that are supportive as well. Thank you very much. Going to go ahead and open it up to any questions or comments from any committee members that may have questions or comments, and/or council members. I see Linda Mobian's hand is up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I always have problems with putting on the mic. Thank you very much. And thank you to the presenters. I know that Reverend DeJeanette has been really wanting to strengthen this area for some time. I know he had the position at the Greater Chamber and has continued to nurture and find ways to commit. And I recently met Misty, and I am excited. I was at the launch. It was unbelievable. It was well attended by everyone. Our mayor was there, and all the people that were identified. This is a great opportunity, not just for the Black businesses, but when we lift Black businesses, we're lifting our communities and we're lifting all businesses. So I am just excited for what this can do for our community and look forward to supporting. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda Mobian. Yes, thank you. And short of any questions or comments, I'd like to, I'm sorry. Oh, Jan Davis, of course.
Thank you.
By all means.
I just want to say congratulations to Pastor DeJeanette and Ms. Beasley. You guys have done a great job, and you are to be commended. And also, I look at this as an opportunity because, Robert, you were with the chambers for a couple of years, and your focus was on Elevate Akron. Am I correct? Yeah. So I think this is a unique opportunity to forge that partnership again, and with that focus being specifically on Elevate Akron. So I think it's a great opportunity. Look forward to working with you guys, and good luck.
Yes, thank you. Absolutely. Well done. And as I mentioned before, I know that this has been a passion of yours, and I look forward to your columns in the Beacon that you would have from time to time, which was very interesting and eye-opening as well. Thank you for all that. Sam DeShazer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, too, want to buttress the comments of those who have come today to say this is an important thing for Akron and for Summit County. You know, in Summit County, small business, and Ms. Graham can tell you, is our biggest business in this particular part of the country. If you look at the gross domestic product that comes from our small business community, it exceeds everything else that we have. So I'm happy and excited, too, to see what you've done and to see that you have come together for business growth. I think John Kennedy said that when the tide rises, all ships must set sail. And so for us, our ship can no longer lie at anchor when it comes to small business development and us going forward to make sure that we have everyone being full participants in the economy. So I applaud you for this, and I think that it's going to have big dividends for our community, both in business growth, also in employment. So kudos to the both of you.
Thank you. I entertain a motion for suspension of the rules with a favorable report.
So moved.
Oh, do you? Well, I didn't see your hand up. I'm sorry. Go ahead. By all means, I didn't see your hand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's a wonderful idea, and I'm behind it 100%. Just have a couple of questions. How much money or assistance are you asking from the city?
It's $50,000 for 3 years, $50,000 per year for 3 years.
Okay.
Good. Very good. With that, motion for suspension of the rules with a favorable report.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Very good. The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for coming down this afternoon. Thank you. Thanks. Next item, Sarah Biviano.
Item number 8 is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of certain real property located in the Five Points area from the Summit County Land Bank in furtherance of real estate development in the city of Akron and declaring an emergency.
Susie Graham Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This legislation allows us to continue to pursue an agreement that we have in place with the Summit County Land Bank, allowing us to acquire parcels in the Five Points area of Sherbondi Hill with the purpose of using them for future infill housing development.
Very good. Thank you. Questions or comments from anyone? Is there a rush? Is consent okay on this, or is there?
Consent's appropriate.
There's
Yes,
quite a few
absolutely.
parcels. Consent is okay? Very good. I'd like to entertain a motion that we place this on the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Thank you. The ayes have it. Item number 9.
Thank you.
Item number 9 is an ordinance authorizing the Director of the Department of Planning and Urban Development or his designee to enter into contractor contracts with nonprofit organizations for the provision of tenant-based rental assistance to carry out the intent and purpose of the Home American Rescue Plan and declaring an emergency.
Yes, Helen Tomic, welcome.
Good afternoon, committee chair, committee members. In late 2024, the Planning Department released a request for proposals for the Tenant-Based Rental Assistance Program. Tenant-Based Rental Assistance provides rental assistance to help pay the cost of rent for homeless families or formerly homeless families for up to 9 months. These funds are also utilized to pay for security deposits. The security deposit may not exceed the equivalent of 1 month's rent. Funds are targeted for folks that are, like I said, homeless and formerly homeless. We received 5 applications requesting $577,000. After review of the applications, qualifications for the proposals, and determining whether or not they meet the match requirements, we are recommending that all 5 agencies be funded at the requested amount of $577,000. I do believe you've received a memo outlining the name of the agencies and the amount requested for each of those programs. Contracts will start October 1st, 2024 through December 31st of 2025.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, this is a relatively new program for the city of Akron, or not, or in terms of the rental piece?
So tenant-based rental assistance, we started this with the home ARPA dollars. I believe we came to council last year.
Okay.
And then with the traditional home funds, it's probably been a couple of years since we've
Okay.
run this program.
Good. Is there any sense whatsoever, and I apologize to my colleagues, is there any sense whatsoever, you know what the question is, I think everyone on this side wants to ask the same question. Is there any sense whatsoever in terms of these type of funds that help those that need the help the most? From Washington, D.C., are we getting any signals whatsoever, any kind of hint in terms of what's going on? And I know I see Kyle Julian, I'm sure he keeps his ear to the ground. And
what else am I
just
going to do at
curious.
3 in the morning? No, not really, right? We're obviously worried, but I would point out that these are funds that we've already signed contracts with. We're not waiting on new funds for this
Right.
particular program. Okay.
Understandable,
Yeah,
yeah.
but no, we really are kind of
Like the rest of us in this-
trying. Yeah, exactly. The teeter-totter, the roller coaster,
the shaky boat.
The shaky boat. I like that
We
one.
don't know where the storm's going to take us. Okay. Any questions or comments from any of my colleagues? What's the timing on this? I apologize for not asking.
Consent will be fine.
Consent? Any questions? I'm not seeing anyone. Is there a motion for consent? Second? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye against? Very good. The ayes have it. With that, the Planning Committee meeting of Akron City Council is concluded. I'll turn it over to our clerk, Sarah Viviano.
Our next committee today is the Parks and Recreation Committee. Those committee members are Connor, Lombardo, Bolden, Hannah, and Boyes. We do have all committee members present. We'll give everyone just a moment to get to their seats and we can get started. Thank you. Okay, we're ready to begin the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting. Again, those committee members are Connor, Lombardo, Bolden, Hannah, and Boyes. We do have all committee members present whenever you're ready, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting, please?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much. We have no legislation before us, but we do have a presentation by this wonderful team across from us about the CLCs and getting more use of them for our neighborhoods. So, Mr. Lash, we'll let you open.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of council. Thank you for this opportunity to allow us to come before you. I have my colleague, Rochelle Wardell, who's actually going to share with us our colleagues and partners to present this CLC Access Progress Report. So I want to turn it over to Rochelle and the rest of our team.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, members of the committee. We are excited to come to you today to provide a progress update on some of the work we've been doing alongside Youth Success Summit and Akron Public Schools to increase access to our community learning centers. You'll hear from this team that the most important thing we are doing is listening to our residents and ensuring that our community learning centers truly fulfill the promise of welcoming community hubs. I know this topic is important to many of you. Madam Chairwoman, you were on the first committee that was formed around community learning centers, and Councilwoman Omobian's signature is on the agreement from 2003 when she was the president of the Board of Education. So this is important to all of you, and I know it's important to your residents. And I know issues with carrying out the vision has been discussed for many years, and different committees have tried to address the issue. This group of people that I will present to you in one moment has made more progress on the issue than any other since I've been paying attention for a little over a decade. And they deserve to be commended for their dedication and hard work. So here with me today is Danica Buckley-Knight. He's our Youth Opportunity Strategist. Ellen McWilliams-Woods, representing the Youth Success Summit. Deborah Folk from Akron Public Schools. She's the Business Affairs Director. And Jeff Incorvia, he's with our Recreation Department. He is the one who handles all the rentals for the city. Also in the gallery is Rachel Tecca. She is the Executive Director of Youth Success Summit. And Melvin Blake from Recreation Department with the city, who handles the rentals of our athletic fields outside. So without further ado, we have a presentation, and Danica will kick us off.
Thank you, Rochelle, and good afternoon to everyone. As mentioned, I'm Danica Buckley-Knight, and I serve as the Youth Opportunity Strategist for the City of Akron. So before I present, I want to just kind of share a story. So I participated in National League of Cities this fall, which was held in Tampa Bay. And it was a number of robust breakout sessions, but one of them was around serving youth in our out-of-school space. And there was a city, which I can't recall exactly which one, but there was a city who had this idea around opening up a high school and allowing the community to program the high school after school. And it was like a hit. Everyone wanted to know about this organization, this city. So kindly, I had to raise my hand and talk about this amazing partnership between the City of Akron and Akron Public Schools, to where not one of our CLCs, but all of our CLCs has this agreement where in the school hours, the school district oversees the facility, and then in the after-school hours, the City of Akron takes the responsibility on. So we became like the champion of that conference because they wanted to learn about Akron. So, you know, I'm excited to share and present about what we have been working on. And to kick off the presentation, I would like to start with a data point. The data point is higher income families spend roughly $3,600 per year on out-of-school time activities compared to $700 per year for low-income families. So Youth Success Summit and Summit Education Initiative, the research shows that we need more things for middle school and for high school. There was a recent report that was conducted by the Summit County Public Health Department, and the data showed that Akron Public Schools has less sports participation as compared to Summit County young adults as a whole. And then lastly, the data shows that 1 in 4 kids experience depressive symptoms, with worse numbers for the LGBTQ plus students, with 50% of youth who reported mental health concerns. They reported they did not get any help that they needed. So this again highlights the important need for us to have our CLCs accessible, to be able to give youth and young adults opportunity to play in sports, but also to address some of the mental health concerns that the data has showed in our community. So with that, I'm going to pass to Dr. Elliot Williams-Woods, who will also present and share some data and some information around CLC access.
Madam Connor and the rest of our City Council members, I'm very excited to be here. As many of you know, I spent 37 years in the Akron Public Schools. So I was there for the birth of the whole concept of the Community Learning Center. I was a part of a lot of those early design teams. So to be here, where after a number of years of frustration with our community members around full access, to be able to share with you the progress that we've made is very special to me, and I know for many of you who have been with me through that journey as we've gone through this. One of the key things that the Youth Success Summit does, we are an organization that represents 70+ nonprofit youth-serving organizations in this community that serves youth out of school time, so after school and in the summer. We wake up every single day doing 2 things. One is expand opportunities for youth, and the second thing we do is eliminate barriers. We want to make sure that we eliminate any barriers for youth, especially youth furthest from those opportunities. One of the things that early on in the Youth Success Summit design that kept coming up from our youth, from our families, from our nonprofit organizations is the inability to fully access, or especially with a lot of barriers, our community learning centers. I know you all have heard those same concerns. So the Youth Success Summit convened APS and the city representatives, and we have worked for about 1.5 years to come up with new procedures that we're going to share with you today. What we did with the kind of laser-focused goal was to streamline the process, eliminate barriers, and make it fully accessible so that we can make sure that we kind of reach that goal of having these open community learning centers for our community-based organizations after school hours. What we did at the beginning is we convened about 70 members of our out-of-school time YSS members, Youth Success Summit members, and we asked them what is working well in the rental process and the reservation process, and then what is not working well. And then most importantly, we said, for the things that are frustrating and not working well, what are the solutions? And we literally took those solutions, made an action plan for all of us, and just started punching through that list to make it a much, much improved process for all of our organizations. Deborah is going to go ahead and explain what those major barriers were, and then we'll show you how we have just punched through that list to fix a lot of those issues.
Madam Chairman and rest of the committee, welcome to our work. This has been an absolute wonderful thing that we have learned, and these are some of the barriers that were important to our community. Staffing capacity that made the facilities unavailable for lack of staffing to support them. Not all the spaces were open during rentals, as an example. Bathrooms, we heard in one meeting that field bathrooms were not available because we did outside and inside work. We needed better fields and we needed better equipment. Another point of item was cost. too expensive for nonprofits to use some of the facilities. We also had costs vary. Some groups did not get charged, other groups did get charged, and then of course the cost and process to secure insurance, which is a way that both of the governmental agencies work. We support the reservation process. There were miscommunications because it was an extremely long process to do so, and a lack of a direct one contact person, whether it was on our side or on the city side. And then we talked about the reservation system. The reservation system was difficult to find online if you were working with the city trying to do their facilities or ours. There was, up until recently, a paper pencil process, and it was a length of time to get the paper and pencil process through because that was a lot of hand holding back and forth. We also had a lack of availability, especially in the high schools, because those are some of the most intense use of any of the facilities. No centralized process to secure the facilities, and then a lack of transparency on who approved and who was not supposed to approve. So those were the barriers that came out of the meetings with the community and the conversation. So I do want to share some additional information with you, and that has to do with the types of usage. We've narrowed them down to 3. APS permits, and this is the most recent information for the last year, July 1st of 23 through June 30th of 24, APS hosted 19,112 events. The city hosted 744 events, and then the community themselves, not related to either one of the entities, hosted 4,371 events, which was 18%. I will let you know that part of this use also includes serving over 1,200,000 permit users in these events that we scheduled. And now I will turn it back over to Danico.
Thank you. So I would like to highlight some of the wins that we, as a team, have kind of accomplished thus far, highlighting the before versus the after. So before, in order to secure a permit, you had to fill out an application with a paper, and then that paper would be sent to the school, and then the school would send it down to the Board of Education, and then there at some point would be a yes or no, and then the school would get that yes or no, and then they would reach out to the organization that requested. And sometimes that could be a multiple week process. What we were able to do was we were able to streamline and basically create the process to where it's done online. So there's a system called FMX where a nonprofit organization can go into FMX, identify a location that they are interested in securing. They can put that information in FMX, and it goes directly to Deborah Falk's team, and then that is either denied or approved. And usually it takes about 48 to 72 hours, which is a huge, huge shift from the old way of doing business. We also, from the community, the feedback of the community, a lot of folks didn't even understand how to go about in applying to get a permit for our CLC usage. So from that, what we were able to do was provide trainings throughout the previous year, and the trainings will be ongoing with how to secure a CLC using an FMX system. Again, there were multiple contacts in the old way of doing things because it was paper, to where now there's an allocated person from the city of Akron, and there's also an allocated person from Akron Public Schools. So you're only going to talk to 2 people in order to secure the permit. And then lastly, the CLC usage reports didn't have a separate category for all community usage. So now what we have is we have an APS staff usage, we have city usage, and we have community. So really differentiating, school, city, community, and making the community aware that that's the process. The process is school first, city second, and community third. So those are 4 examples of hearing the community, rolling up our sleeves, and making significant changes to be able to access our CLC more equitably and efficient. So I'm going to now pass it to, I'm also going to talk about the biggest thing which we're working on right now, which is our facility handbook. So this was approved in 2001. 2001, yes. The city was operating under its own policies and procedures, and then we were able to dig into each, and we have landed on developing a unified set of procedures that Dr. Ellen will share information about this procedure.
Okay, I'm going to say that again. The handbook was last approved in 2001. Okay, and here we are. That alone should be, we should, as a mic drop, right? So we are here with a new proposal, a new proposed handbook that does a lot of things. It incorporates a lot of the improvements that you just heard from Deborah and Danico. Most importantly, we have one set of procedures rather than a set of procedures for the city and a set of procedures for APS. And it depended on who you went through to rent. It was different procedures, different rates, different in a lot of ways. And then we wondered why it was confusing and frustrating and oftentimes didn't feel equitable. Why did so-and-so get this rate and this rule, and why did this other organization, why did they get something different? So we had two completely different sets of procedures. Now we have one that is all encompassed in the handbook, and I believe you all are sent a copy or will receive a copy of that proposed handbook. It's gone from 5,922 words down to just little over 1,000 words, so we've streamlined it considerably. There were lots of do's and don'ts. That was our whole goal, is to simplify this process and make it much more transparent so that we eliminated that feeling that people were being treated differently in the community. There was a lack of clarity on who's responsible, so we cleared that language up to make sure that it was much clearer in terms of what renters had to do and participants. We established a checklist to help renters. We set one common set of fees between APS and the city. I'll say that one more time. There's one set of fees. Our fees were very different between if you rented through APS or you rented through the city. It was very different. And so now we have come to and will be presenting, because the school board needs to approve the rates in April. We'll be going back to the equity committee to propose the final rates to go with the handbook. And we have a significant reduction in a lot of the add-on fees that were also additional for extra equipment and things like that. We have a much smaller set. So our proposed fee structure, this is very simplified, is just two groups. One group includes APS and city events, and that first group A, the base rate is waived, which means it is free. The base rate is waived if it's an APS or a city event, if it's an IRS-recognized nonprofit organization. In the past, some nonprofits who were approved through the city received it for free, but if it was from APS, it wasn't, and there were some that, it was kind of this gray area of how the nonprofits were charged in the past. So now the nonprofits are free. There's one exception that we'll talk about in Group B. And then the last group who the base rate is waived is organizations with a program-related partnership agreement, like PTA. We have mental health providers embedded in the schools, and they do groups after school, so they also would be free. And then the second, Group B, where we do have standard base rates, that's all other renters, not included in Group A, so that's private, companies, private organizations, for-profit groups that want to use the facility, and then any rental from Group A that is having an event where they're charging participants. So we host, for example, in our collective facilities, big dance tournaments or something, or piano and choir, major programs. not school-related, but for the whole state. But if they're charging admission at the door, then they also would pay us for rental, okay? So that's the only exception in that Group B. So that, I'm going to turn it back to Rochelle to talk about sort of next steps.
Can we ask questions now or wait till the end? Wait.
We have one more
I'm going to
slide,
give you our next steps, and then we'll open it up. So today's update is particularly to show you some of the procedural barriers that we've been able to tackle. However, we know procedural challenges are just one part of the larger issue. And moving forward, both the city and the schools and Youth Success Summit are committed to continuing this work, not just to address additional procedural concerns, but to tackle cultural and customer service barriers that impact access and experience. While our progress today outlines important steps, it does not mean the work is done. And we are here proud of the progress we've made, but committed to broader changes on the topic. And so here are some of the things that we are planning to tackle next. They include the insurance issue. We intend to put together a series of recommendations on how the community can address those concerns that we hear often. We will finalize the fees that will go along with those two groups that we just laid out for you. We will look into the restroom access, particularly for the folks who are renting the outdoor space so that they have access to the indoor restrooms. And then we are looking at different ways and alternatives to staff the CLCs. We know that right now we can't have every door open of those CLCs because we don't have the human capital to do it.
We thank you for taking the time to listen to our presentation, and we are open for any questions that any of you may have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Where can we get some of the new handbooks for our award meetings?
We need to have it be approved by the Board of Education, which we are intending to do hopefully in April. And so once, if they do approve it, then it will be public and we'll get you those copies.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. This is a very nice presentation. I think my one question is answered on the last slide. You said you're going to finalize the common APS and city fees. So I was going to say, well, what's the fee? So you don't have that, right?
We are nearing that recommendation, and we'll be presenting that at the school board meeting when we have that. But we are still somewhat negotiating how we can find the best way to make it the most beneficial to our residents.
Okay, because then the previous slide before that, Group A, the base rate is waived. Group B, standard, gets the standard base rate. So I don't know, it just seems like to me there's some type of structure there where if you're in A, the base rate is, waived, but there might be other rates. I don't know.
I could let Deborah talk about some of the things, particularly when you're using a high school facility where there are additional fees that go on, as well as for all the different buildings, there are security requirements at times. But Deborah, could you go into that more?
You don't have to get too much in detail before you start. I just wanted to then go on with another example, like say I run a booster club, and so I think I'm going to be in Group B, so I'll need to know my rate, and then you'll need insurance, and so maybe a little bit walk through that.
Okay, so some of the things that happen, the base rate is to have the room rate, but there are things that people require us to provide for them. The moving of the Marley floor. If you're doing a dance competition, the Marley floor has to be moved and set.
The what floor?
The Marley floor. It's actually called Marley.
Marley.
And we dance, it's a dance competition type floor. Okay. We need to also support the technology use that somebody may want. We might be asked to do certain lighting and certain soundboards if you're using an auditorium. And then again, the security fees, because we certainly, on both of our entities, have increased the security use at locations. So those would be items, depending on the group and what is needed, could incur the service fees. These are not the rental fees, these are the service fees to help accomplish your particular event.
That's good. Thank you.
Hey, Councilman, could also add that this is just for informational purposes. A lot of the specific details haven't been worked out, as you heard today. So we just wanted to bring this and make this presentation before all of you as we get all the rest of the details worked out and then take it before the board for approval.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had a few questions. This is near and dear to my heart. My husband has worked with Deb multiple times on getting access to gyms and has been nothing but the best professional he says he's ever worked with as far as working with the government goes. So thank you, Deborah. My questions have to do with kind of some prior usage of gyms that I remember from before Kenmore being closed. I've noticed the activities that are not allowed include dances, concerts, etc. I know those are the sorts of things that our community was using our high school for. Our dance studio was doing their dance recitals there. I know the Summit, they bring in national artists that sometimes need larger rooms, which like one we'll have over, once Miller South is there. So is this just for, I guess I'm trying to figure out how those two things work in context.
Let's start with your last question first. Professional organizations, and I'm thinking of the Russian Ballet and some others, they certainly do contact us to help provide that venue. We have a very detailed tour item that we do and discussion with them. Sometimes we certainly can provide the services they want, and other times we are not professional enough. So we have certainly reached out and told them other venues within the city, such as the Goodyear Theater and others that may be more appropriate. Occasionally we can do the setup, but they have to go out and work with the local unions that perform some of those lightings and items that we cannot do, and we have been able to point them in the right direction and give them permission to bring those people in. So that's the first one. The second one, regarding community use of gyms, we certainly do have a multiple of teams that we certainly support in our own school district, and with the amount of adding, for those of you who have been here for a long time, we added middle school sports back in after the 2012 levy. So now that we have several schools, and I'm thinking that are 612, you have Buchtel and East, both 612. So those gyms get multiple uses because they're all in the same venue. So we are dealing with middle school sports, we're dealing with freshmen, we're dealing with JV, and we're dealing with varsity. And then because everybody loves to engage students, we are now seeing athletic items that have expanded. We now have girls wrestling teams and boys wrestling teams, and we have this particular sport and that particular sport. We just added boys volleyball. So we are engaging our students in our community efforts to try and balance those as much as we can around our teams, and then opening them up. One of the things we cannot do, which we used to be able to do, is we do not have the same amount of storage in our new CLC locations, so we often very carefully work with them to say, yes, you can bring your items in, but I'm sorry, you need to take them with you when you leave. And that's not only for the security of our use, but it's the security of their items, because we certainly don't want them not to be there when they return.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. And just so I'm clear, so a dance recital and a concert could potentially happen in one of these buildings. It's not an activity is not allowed.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, thank you. And just also for clarification, the prices, are you planning on setting the rental prices by April when you have the manual ready? Is that the timeline? Awesome, thanks.
Councilwoman Amovian.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I heard Dr. McWilliams Woods talk about her role during the time this uncharted event occurred. She and Deb were very much a part of the leadership at the time. We were on uncharted land when we did this. Because when we did the levy, we said that these buildings would be schools by day and community centers by night. And we had no idea what we were talking about, and we ran into a lot of issues because all the things they have talked about today, thank God that we have finally got to this point, that you have streamlined this and you've identified all of these hurdles because we wanted these buildings built because we needed them. And they've turned out to be beautiful buildings. They're nothing like the old buildings, which are more durable, they're longer lasting and all of that, but they're beautiful. And they are giving us opportunities to have technology, all kinds of things. We had buildings that weren't air conditioned and all of that. So these ladies that you have at the table, the ones that needed to be a part of this group, and thank God for them being here. And thank you for what you have done because we are finally close to what we promised the people, schools by day, community centers by night. And I think you're working on all these barriers that we've all heard about and talked about. And thank you for your service and stop minimizing your role because without you guys at the table, we would never be where we are today. So thank you.
You say, here, Linda Mobian, exactly right. I look across the table here, and I think of a dream team. It takes a dream team to pull something off like this. These hurdles were extremely high that was placed in front of us in terms of making these more and more accessible. So, Linda, you're exactly on point. Thank you for all your hard work.
It was uncharted water, but, Akron was bold enough to jump in. And sometimes you jump in and you may not be sure of what you're doing, but you have time to revisit it and make it better. So thank you for all your work. If you'd like to come back after the handbook's done, just let us know. We'd love to have you back.
Thank you.
If there's nothing else coming before us, we're adjourned.
Our next committee today will be the Rules Committee. Those committee members are McKittrick, Fusco, Amobian, Connor, and Davis. Again, that's the Rules Committee, and we'll begin in just a few moments here. Thank you. Okay, we're ready to begin the Rules Committee. Again, those committee members are McKittrick, Fusco, Amobian, Connor, and Davis. We do have all committee members present whenever you're ready, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Clerk Viviano. I would like to call the Rules Committee to order. We have previous minutes to approve. If I could get a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We have one resolution to come before us today. It's a resolution designating the city council users and social media supervisor and authorizing the same to establish, administer, and moderate social media accounts on behalf of city council, authorizing the president of council to approve all content posted on behalf of city council to official city council social media platforms, and declaring an emergency. This is something that we just recently had the language come through. There were some changes here and there. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to look it over and digest it or have any questions. Mr. Fusco, do you have some comments?
Just briefly, I know this had been a couple years in the making. Intentionally, I guess we went kind of slow with it. The law department has weighed in. We also have, we could take our time on this. I'd like to point, though, to the success that we've had with regards to the spotlight on Akron City Council. That's grown and grown and grown. And so I see how this could possibly mirror that and be somewhat similar. But I don't believe that we want to rush into this. We want to take time. We'll give everybody an opportunity to look at it, weigh in on it, and because this is going to be all of ours. It's not just the president or leadership or the folks who are going to be running it with. Which it's going to be a team effort, including all of us. So I would highly recommend that we take time on this. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Fusco. Are there any other committee members or council members that have any comments?
I do.
Councilwoman Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So who's gonna, am I allowed to post on this page? I'm just trying to get, because I haven't really dug into it. So we have a social media page. Is this a Facebook page or is it just a social media that stands alone for Akron City Council?
This will be our own Facebook page. It'll be moderated and approved by the president of, well, she won't be the moderator, but she will be the approval of items that go out onto the Facebook page of City Council. So.
Okay, so I can't randomly come up with a thought and.
No.
Okay.
No, there's going to be checks and balances in this because we had that presentation previously about being cautious with social media. We had the gentleman come in and give us a training, so we have to move cautiously with what's approached, that we post on this and so on.
All right, thank you. I'll dig more into it.
Thank you.
Better understanding.
Councilman Bolden.
Question, I'm just trying to get my arms around this whole thing. I've read it. This is going to be a city council aggregate page, correct? It's not going to be individual pages for each one of us?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought.
This is
just wanted to
just
make sure.
representative of city council as a whole. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from any committee or council members? Okay. I think at this point we really need to let everybody get a chance to look at this. So I'd like a motion for referral.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay. And all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We will refer this in. We have nothing further to come before rules. We will be adjourned. Thank you.
Our next committee today will be the Budget and Finance Committee, and it will begin at 3 o'clock. Those committee members are Lombardo, Amobian, Fusco, Boyes, and Bolden. Again, that's the Budget and Finance Committee, and it will begin at 3 o'clock. Thank you.